Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and this is Women Who Shine. This is where we celebrate women who are walking in their purpose, breaking barriers, and lighting the way for others. Each woman featured here has a story that reminds us of faith, resilience, and determination. Today, we're shining the spotlight on LaWanna Bradford. LaWanna is a best-selling author, international speaker, trainer, and so much more. But she's also a woman whose journey is not only inspiring, but also a beautiful reminder that when women shine, we give others permission to shine too. Welcome to the show, LaWanna. Thank you for being here and shining your light with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Melissa.
I'm excited to talk to you, LaWanna. In this series, I like to start at the beginning of the journey. What was the spark, or what was the thing that happened that was a turning point for you that started your journey to shining your light?
I would say the turning point, and you talked about this before, is when life is going perfect, right? Where you feel like you have the Midas touch until you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that rug is pulled from under you and you're wondering what the what. And for me, it was 2007, 2008 with the mortgage crisis. And I was in the mortgage business and was wondering, how am I going to stay afloat? How am I going to not only pay my employees, but keep a roof over my head? And I realized that through determination and through other processes, I was able to rebound and recover, but it wasn't overnight. It was a 3 to 4 year long dark process. But what it taught me, Melissa, is arrogance, pride has no place ever on the table. And I say that because, and I say it humbly, everything was always going great, right? So it was all about LaWanna's brilliant, life is wonderful. And even though I was grateful to God for all that He had done for me, there was a bit of pride, maybe a lot of pride there. And I think for me, this was God sitting me on the bench for a minute in His own way. I had to go around the mountain a couple times. For me, that mountain was a 4 year, let's keep looping you. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. And that made me realize how many other women are out there. And it's not because God is doing it, but just life happens.
Mm-hmm.
And they are struggling. And they are looking for other people to inspire, to say, hey, I get you. I understand you. And through love and acceptance and perseverance, you can show other people that despite the darkness, this too shall pass, your light will shine again. So that's really, I would say, the biggest shift in my life was that dark 4 to 5 year period.
Well, thank you for that, because I do agree with you. I do. That's why we do the Women Who Shine series. It's because, not because these women have had it easy all the time, not because their journeys were so great that they didn't have any challenges, but because they kept going to get to the light, and then they kept shining their light so that other women can be inspired for that. So thank you so much for that. That leads me to my next question, though, which is about the Women Who Shine series. I get excited about this series. This is our second time doing it, and I really love speaking to the women and hearing about their journeys and shining the light on them for a change, and that just gets me excited. So talk to us what it means to you. How does it resonate to you to step into your own light and allow others to see
For me, it was humbling, right? A mutual friend and coach of ours, Cyrus Webb, he's like, okay, LaWanna, you do a really good job at elevating and amplifying others. But when it comes to you, you go behind the scenes and, why is that? And I said, well, it's not about me. But he said, it needs to be about you. You need to learn how to tell your story, the good and the bad, right? Shine a spotlight on that, on how you've uncovered, discovered, and reinvented yourself, because you never know whose lives you may change and touch and inspire.
it?
So that's really it in a nutshell. And it keeps me humble, because it's by telling that story and parts of it over and over again, it reminds me how far God has brought me.
Mm.
and the strength and confidence that he's given me to tell that story. Not because I think I was afraid of being judged, Melissa.
Mhm.
People see you one way, and it's like, well, I don't want them to know that LaWanna had financial struggles. Mm-mm. And it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, thank you for that. And I do agree with you. Part of the holding back is judgment. You're afraid to get judgment. That's why I love this series. I love just pulling back the curtain. That was one of my biggest challenges the first time I ever shared my story on the stage. It was because I was afraid that all those things people will say, oh, she showed up like she's perfect. She's not perfect. She went through this. She went through that. I get it. And I think so many other women will get it too. So thank you for that. And we're excited to shine the light on you today.
Thank
Now,
you.
Luana, I want to talk about the challenges. We do go through challenges as women, whether we're entrepreneurs or working for someone else or wherever in our life, there is challenges along the way. Can you share with us a moment that you shared about your turning point moment, but share with us another moment where maybe you were just doubting yourself, or maybe you felt like you were being tested, and give us help us see how you were able to rise above that moment and not allow it to stop you, but keep going.
I think for me, one of the biggest challenges, and I'm learning how to normalize that, is I love to give, I love to support and help others. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's always going to be reciprocated, right? Especially when it comes to strategic partnerships. And I've been burned a lot where I've just given it all, really committed to what we've agreed upon. And then I found that as a business owner, and this may happen to you, I've been in business for over 30 years, that my ideas were taken from me, or or people were manipulating a situation for their good and not for the collective good. And it's really hard to get through that and not be bitter,
Mhm.
or not look at, how can I pay them back? And just walk in love. And so from a business standpoint, and this is so important, I think women, we often lead from the heart. And there's nothing wrong with that. But God gave us intellect for a reason. And we in a spirit of discernment, and we have to use that. And even though we may feel like, oh, I want to do this, if you get your spidey senses are going off and saying, wait a minute, or let's reassess that contract that you've agreed to. Let's make sure that it is going to be equal for both parties. Then you want to lean into that and not get so into, well, it's how I feel. Business isn't just about feeling. It's about being discerning, making intelligent choices and decisions, and sometimes getting out of the way of your feelings. So that for me, and it continues to be a point of growth, because every situation is different, every person is different. But remembering to not always lead by the heart. My passion is heart led, but as a businesswoman, I'm led by discernment and intellect.
Thank you for that, because I've been in business over 26 years and I can tell you some situations that have happened, even very recent. But what I get from you, and I hope everybody gets, is not to focus with your heart and your feelings on those situations and want to get back to them. Speak from that business side, what is best for me, and move forward, because I do believe what's for me is for me. And if my actions reflect that, things change, and not let it stop you. So I hope everybody got that. Thank you for that, Luana. Let me reset right here. This is Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. This is the Women Who Shine series, and our guest today is LaWanna Bradford. So, Luana, sometimes, and you mentioned this just a few minutes ago, sometimes women love celebrating others. We build them up. You have a whole platform about celebrating others, right? But when it comes to ourselves, we downplay our wins. We may mention them, then we move on to the next thing, and we really don't make a big deal about ourselves. So, at this moment, we want you to share with us a moment that excited you. When you think about that moment, you get excited all over again. It just makes you smile, because we're going to clap with you and celebrate that moment with you.
Thank you. Well, it's actually a two-parter. So the thing that most recently happened in the last 12 months was I wrote my first solo book, which is I Pledge Allegiance, A Journey Through the Words That Shaped a Nation. And the reason why that book was so important to me, it took the lens that we're facing here in the US, but it wove that in with the story of my father. And you know how close Dad and I
Mhm.
were and still are. And being able to weave it in a way to help people to discover for themselves, why do you stand for what you do? Why do you believe what you do? Are you really focusing on being a nation that's undivided, or are you on another side? And it's not a partisan book. It's just what do you want for yourself and your nation and the next generation. And then the second part of that, Melissa, is I just received last month, and I haven't promoted it yet, the International Impact Book Award for I Pledge Allegiance.
LaWanna, are you still there?
I'm still here. That is weird.
Yeah, your video dropped off just now.
Hmm.
So we can't see you, but we can hear you and we can clap for you while we figure out what's going on right there. Both of those things are amazing. We talked about your dad and the book, so I know you're very proud of that. And wow, the International Impact Award. That's amazing. So we're clapping for you right now. Here, there you are. You're
I'm
back.
back. I don't
But
know.
we didn't stop clapping for you though. So thank you for sharing that. Women all over the world is celebrating both of those great things for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Luana, my next question is sometimes we get heavy, right? Sometimes that dream that you're so excited about, sometimes it just feels heavy. Maybe the noise in the world is loud. How do you keep grounded? How do you stay focused on your dream and determined to keep shining?
Well, number one, I stay grounded because of my faith. I'm a Christian, and just trusting that God is going to give me the provision that He needs in order to fulfill that vision, no matter how grand or how lofty it is, and no matter how long it takes. So, learning how to be patient in the journey, knowing sometimes it's going to be rough, allowing myself to give myself grace and space to expand in the journey, because when we're going down a new path, we're expanding, we're growing. God's showing us what we're capable of. And so I try to not play small. And when I say play small, being LaWanna sidelining herself or playing small or self doubting. It's new, it's scary, and it's like, okay, God, but you're saying go left, so I'm going to trust you to truly order my steps and give me the people, the resources that I need at the time that I need it. So I try not to get too far ahead of myself, even though I see the vision, but I really want to live in the now, feel the now. And sometimes in the now, I think I may have put a live a few days ago. I was exhausted, Melissa, just burnt out. And I needed to pull back
Mm-hmm.
and just sit in the park and do nothing. I didn't want to think.
I feel you.
I didn't want to do anything because I could feel the weight. And I'm like, okay, I need to woosah. I need some peace. And then that gave me enough energy to be replenished, to refill, to move on. And I think that's important too, is you have to know when to pull back.
Mm-hmm. And that's so hard for women, right? To say, you know what, I need a moment. I'm just exhausted. For even for myself, Luana, that is the hardest thing in the world to say. I'm not doing something every minute of the day today because we think that we need to. So that is really huge. And thank you for sharing that. Also, another thing you shared that I find women tend to not give themselves grace. Like you're in this moment. Don't be so hard on you. Just give yourself some grace. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now, Luana, I want you to speak to, there are women watching that's listening to your voice and have been inspired by your journey. I want you to talk to them because they have a dream, right? But it's like they haven't been able to move on that dream. It's like stuck. They want to do it. They're excited about doing it. They feel led to do it, but they haven't been able to take that first step. What would you say to them?
Well, I think if you feel that it's something that you're led to do, it's aligned with your purpose, it's something that can bring you joy, where you feel that you're going to have an impact and influence in what you do, then I want you to get out of the way of fear, because that's what's causing you to not move. That's what's causing you to be paralyzed and to be crippled, because you're so in your head in the what if space, or you're in a place of analysis by paralysis, right? It's got to be perfect. I have to make sure everything is lined up before I move forward. Well, that's analogous to saying I want to drive down this long boulevard, but I'm not gonna press my foot on the gas and go until I know that all lights are green and there's 20 lights. What's the likelihood that you're going to have all 20 lights aligned green?
Exactly.
It's not. So just feel the fear and do it anyway. Acknowledge where you are. Okay, I'm scared. I've never done this before. But it's a dream. And a dream without action is just that. It's just a dream. It's air. Now let's make that air into a point of manifestation where bit by bit you start seeing the pieces come together. And that's where your faith and your encouragement that will propel you to take that next step after the next step after the next step will come from. But you just have to get out of your way, recognize this is fear talking, and move forward.
Oh, wow. Feel the fear and move anyway. That's the key.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And lastly, LaWanna, I would ask you to think about when people look at your life and your journey, what is it that you want them to feel or to remember and be inspired to do because of your example?
I have never been asked that question. So I would say, that's a really good question. I want them to see from me what unshackled boldness looks like, and to unbridle yourself and not be afraid to allow the world to hear your voice. So I want people to remember that LaWanna was someone that spoke her truth, that stood for what she believed in, and was always willing to reach back and bring the next woman along.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for that, LaWanna. Thank you for sharing with us and celebrating with us today. Let our audience know how they can stay connected to you and support what you're doing.
Thank you again, Melissa. You can reach me on all things social media by my name, LaWanna Bradford, or visit my website, lawannabradford.com. It's real easy.
Thank you for that. And thank you for being here, Luana. Thank you for opening your heart and sharing your incredible journey with us today. And thank you to our audience for joining this episode of Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, the Women Who Shine series. Luana, your story is a reminder that no matter where we start, we all have the ability to rise, to dream, and to shine. To every woman watching, I'm your host, Melissa Banks. I hope you feel encouraged and inspired to keep pushing on your purpose. Remember, your light is needed, your voice matters, and your shine is powerful. So until next time, keep shining.